Hello and welcome to Get Good. This is the next video in the series on the Space Marine Librarian. As you can see in this one, I will be painting the face. I have done quite a lot more work on the armor, as you can see, and it is beginning to come much more together. On the armor parts, I've just repeated doing the same I did on the leg with the rest of the armor, concentrating the light towards the top of the like the shoulder pad and that, I don't know what it's called, but the head carapace armor thingy. And now it's time for blocking in colors on the head. I painted black, or I guess it's rubber black, so it's a really dark, almost black gray, and I've painted in the areas that aren't supposed to be flesh colored in that color, like the nodes and stuff around his face. And now I'm just basically base coating everything. So the colors I'm using for the face and the head are oceanic blue, which is the darkest of the blues. The lighter blues I won't be using for the face. And then I'm using Bugman's Glow, which is the darker flesh color. And then I'm using Kislev Flesh, which is the brighter flesh color. And then I have the big yellow puddle is ice yellow. And then I put a tiny bit of Mephiston red also on the palette. And those are the colors I'm using. And I will be mixing a bit, as you saw in the very beginning. I took a bit of the Bugman's Glow and mixed in a bit of blue. So it kind of got desaturated and more bluish looking. And here I did the same. I took some of the flesh colors and mixed into the red one. And then I got a mix that was pretty red in tone. And I already on the palette have a mix that is between the Kislev Flesh and the ice yellow. So I'm building the face up by doing the whole 3/3 kind of approach, which is you paint the lowest third in kind of a bluish tone, then the middle in a reddish tone, and then the top part in a more of a yellowish tone. All of it is going to be in flesh colors, of course. Then I paint the mouth in the red tones too. I will say that this being a very, very recessed head makes it really hard to get to. It is a push fit model, which means it kind of had the back, and then you pushed in the head, and then you afterwards had to put the kind of the front part on, which means that the head is kind of sandwiched between those two elements from the sprue, not making it very easy to get in there after the fact. Maybe if I cut some stuff off and did some tricks, I could have done it, but I opted not to, and just accepted the fact that it would be tricky to paint it, and there would definitely be a part of the face that would be turned so much to the side that I can't really get to paint it. But on the other hand, you basically can't see it anyways. So because the face is a bit annoying to get to, I started by base coating all of it in the bluish tone. Also that kind of shadowed side. And then when I made the reddish mix covering some of the nose, the cheek, the eye socket, I just didn't paint it in onto the hidden shadowed side. You probably would if you had the face separate, so you could, if you, for example, painted it before everything else and then did an assembly of the model and then had the face already painted, you probably would be doing the same, just not highlighting as far up on that hidden side because it is kind of shadowed. But yeah, well, I made my choice and assembled it, and it's not really a big deal. As I said, you can't see it too much, and I mean, you will be highlighting on all of the visible elements anyways. So after the base coat, when I put the red on into the eye sockets and stuff, I'm not too neat with it. I end up afterwards going back with the more bluish mix, and then did a kind of a bit of a smoothing out of the transition right with the cheek and then going down towards the chin area is just to smooth it out. I won't be painting this for any kind of competition or anything. I want to take it to, well, a fairly high standard, but still something that is achievable without having to put in 100 hours of work. So I'm painting it a bit quicker and having focus on what is painting things that have the most impact, I guess. Which is a long-winded way to say I'm not giving it any attention or very much attention within that shadowed area. And having the blend be very smooth and neat on the initial blocking in layer is really not that important. That would only really be visible within quite a lot of magnification anyways. So don't spend too much time on having to blend that first blocking in of the 3/3. But then going forward from there, I'm basically highlighting up. I did a bit of a mix, as you can see here, nose and cheek and stuff is a bit on the redder side, where Buckman's Glow kind of has a bit of blue in it. I wanted it to be a tiny bit more red than that. So I just mixed in a bit on the edge of the Kislev Flesh puddle, and that's really the key to painting something like this, is mixing. Do some mixes. The color variation you get from it is pretty nice, and it's very tiny, but you can still kind of tell that there is a bit of a hue change. I will say that this is not gonna be one of those almost photorealistic Space Marine heads at all, but it does follow kind of the same principle. As you can see here, when I highlighted on the cheekbone and the nose, afterwards I'm highlighting towards the bottom, going to the chin area and stuff like that. So I just mixed in a bit of ice yellow into that bluer mix to get it brighter. So both of the highlight colors are around the same value, but the hue is a bit different. For me, it's kind of important and an easy thing to do. With that has quite a lot of impact, is to paint in the lips in a more of a red flesh tone. This guy has a mustache, so you can't really see the upper lip, but you can still see the lower lip, and if you could see the upper lip, I like to paint it in a quite a red flesh tone, and then highlighted it with a dot of pink on it or something like that, just so that it stands out. I won't be painting on eyebrows in this video, but it's something that I've also noticed that people kind of forget. Because of the scale, I won't say it's strictly necessary, but to me at least, it just looks a bit better if you paint in an eyebrow. It looks a bit more natural. And if you don't, it's not, maybe you won't really notice it, but you can kind of tell that something is missing. So here I'm going even brighter, and I'm concentrating the light. You could see he has kind of like those crow's feet or whatever they're called, wrinkles just beside the eye. So I'm actually exaggerating one of them, and then putting more light right under the eye, on the cheekbone, and then right on the nose, and because of the nostril, I highlight the nose down the length, and then when I get to the brightest colors, I kind of leave a gap between that highlight and the highlight of the nostril. You don't want to do that right away, because then the jump in value will be pretty stark from the kind of like the base blocked in color up to the very brightest, because the very brightest color I'm using here is ice yellow mixed with a bit of kislev flesh. It is quite bright, and yeah, you don't want it to stand out that much, but you still want it to stand out. So that is also a point for like, for what scale are you really painting? Because painting a face is one thing, but being mindful of how you want it to look good is another thing. And what I mean by that is, let's say you wanted it to look good on a battlefield, for example. That's not the same as having it look good in hand, and it's not the same as having it look good on a photo, and it's not the same as having it look good under magnification. And just to explain a bit, if you have something on a battlefield, the nuances and details get lost. So really, you can just choose a flesh color, do a recess shading, and then highlight on top of it, and you're good to go. If you want it to look good in hand, you could be getting into a territory of what I'm doing here, doing the 3/3 tonal variation, and then highlighting the volumes, like highlighting the brow, highlighting nose, cheek, and as I said, this one has a beard, but if they don't have a mustache, you would be highlighting also the mouth just above the lip, upper lip. And yeah, that's about it. You can have a bit more jump in value, so the contrast will be a bit higher on something like that if it's supposed to look good in hand. But let's say you want it to look good on a photo where people can zoom. Now you need to be quite mindful of having the features a bit softer and more blended, so you don't go for as high of a value jump. That's not to say that you can't have high contrast. You just need the contrast to be softened out. So for example, something in a more shadowed area will still be quite dark, but you can't really have a very dark recess just besides a very bright highlight. And same goes if you want it to look like the photorealistic ones under super magnification. It is the same principle, just exaggerated even more. So being mindful of what the face is painted for is quite important. This one is, I'd say, looking good in hand, something that is probably just below display quality. So maybe a very high tabletop standard or something like that. If you had a special character you wanted to give even more attention, this would be kind of what you're going for. This one is the secret hidden color that I didn't really get into, but this is the rubber black, which is, as I said, that very dark gray, almost black, and I'm just painting in the mustache with it, just so you can see that it's not because I didn't paint the upper lip, it's just because it's a mustache. So that's the approach to painting a face. Hope you enjoyed watching, and catch you in the next one.